So if I decide to go to a cathedral someday and I see some stone gargoyles, do you think those stone gargoyles would come to life and do a song and dance number right in front of me for no reason? Hey everyone, this is Rob, your Blog Animation Bliss, and welcome to another Disney Corner, where I talk about all the Disney films that has been released. So today's film that I'll be talking about today is Disney's The Hunchback of Notre Dame, and before I get into my thoughts about this film, here are a few words from the channel. Alright Animaniacs, now let's get on the social media train. Want to chat with us in 100 words or less? Then check out our Twitter account. Want to chat with us within a group? Then check out our Facebook account. Want to get the lowdown on everything dealing with animation on this channel? Then check all the above. And now, we return to our regularly scheduled program. So the film starts off with Judge Claude Frollo, who's the main antagonist of the film. And he's going out in Paris chasing after a group of Romani people. And he stumbles upon a Romani woman who was holding a baby in her arms. But unfortunately, Frollo, being the genocidal racist that he is, thought that the woman was holding stolen goods. And so he tried to take the goods from the woman, but it turns out that the woman ended up running away from Frollo. And she ends up going to Notre Dame to seek sanctuary. But unfortunately, Frollo makes it to Notre Dame and ends up murdering the woman. And when Frollo finally sees that the woman was actually carrying a baby, but then he sees that the baby was deformed, he decides to try to throw the baby into the well until the Archdeacon comes in and tells Frollo that he has committed a great sin by killing a young woman. And so the Archdeacon tells Frollo that if he wants to save his soul, then he's going to have to take care of the baby. And so Frollo decides to take care of the baby, and he names the baby Quasimodo. And throughout the years, Quasimodo stays behind the walls of Notre Dame because of his ugly appearance, and because of the fact that people are going to ridicule him because of his ugly appearance. But one day the Festival of Fools comes by, and Quasimodo really wants to go, so he ends up sneaking out of Notre Dame to go to the Festival of Fools. And things were going very well at Quasimodo when he gets to the Festival of Fools, as he was named the King of Fools. But unfortunately, Frollo's soldiers start to riot with the crowd, and the crowd ends up torturing Quasimodo. And it was then that a Romani girl named Esmeralda comes in and saves Quasimodo from being tortured. And it was at that moment that the plot really starts to kick off, with most of the main characters falling in love with Esmeralda. You have Quasimodo himself, who falls in love with Esmeralda because she saved him from being tortured by the crowd. And then you have Phoebus, who's one of Frollo's captain of the guards, actually fall in love with Esmeralda as well. And then you have Frollo himself, who starts to fall in love with Esmeralda too, but he also wants to kill her because Esmeralda is Romani and he wants to destroy the Romani population. So what are my thoughts about The Hunchback of Notre Dame? I love this movie. Ever since I was growing up, I always loved watching this movie. And there were a lot of things about this movie that I loved. So the first thing that I loved about this movie was how it tackled a lot of dark subject matter. So The Hunchback of Notre Dame is often regarded as one of Disney's darkest films. And it really shows in this film. There's a lot of discussions about racism and genocide throughout this movie. And I was actually surprised that a Disney film like The Hunchback of Notre Dame was able to tackle all these harsh subject matters like racism and genocide and tackle it in such a way that's very effective for the movie itself. It's rare that you see a lot of children's movies that tackle these type of subject matter, but I love the fact that The Hunchback of Notre Dame is one of those rare children's films that's able to be very blunt with its discussions about racism and genocide. And I just love the fact that we have a children's movie that's able to tackle dark subject matter like that in such a straightforward way. Another thing I really liked about this movie were the characters themselves. I really love the character of Quasimodo, as yeah, he has an ugly appearance, but the movie tries hard to tell the audience that despite Quasimodo's ugly appearance, he's still a very nice and gentle soul in the inside. And I love the fact that he's willing to help out anybody in need, despite the fact that a lot of people ridicule him because of his appearance, and it just made me love his character even more. Another character that I really liked was Phoebus himself. So he serves as a second love interest to Esmeralda, and I do love the fact that we see that even though Phoebus is serving Frollo throughout most of the movie, it shows that he actually has standards and that he's way more heroic than Frollo's other guards. And I love the fact that he's trying his hardest to save Esmeralda as well while trying to stand up to Frollo at the same time, because it really made his character very interesting. And then another character that I really like was Esmeralda herself. I love the fact that Esmeralda is such a strong female protagonist, and you get to sympathize with her throughout the movie because she's a Romani who's living in a town that despises her people for being different. And I love how Esmeralda's character arc is to start trusting people again. And I love the fact that she has a close relationship with both Quasimodo and Phoebus, because those were the only two characters in the film who actually are very heroic and are as nice as she is. So I love the fact that Esmeralda is able to bond with those two characters, and that all three of those characters try hard to stand up against Frollo and his oppressive rule over Paris. And then the last character I really wanted to talk about is Frollo himself. Frollo is probably my all-time favorite Disney villain, and there are a lot of reasons why I love Frollo as an antagonist. Like, for one thing, the fact that he's a genocide of races is really unique in this film, as you don't see a lot of Disney villains who are that serious or that realistic. And the reason why I say that Frollo is a very realistic villain is because, sadly, in real life, there are genocide of races that are in power, and they use their power to torture people. So with Frollo's character, we actually get to see what would happen if you have a genocide of races in power, and what he would do to the people if he gets that power. We see how Frollo is able to oppress most of the people in Paris, and that he wants to commit genocides against the Romani population, which is probably the worst thing he's ever done in the film. And the fact that he's in power and that nobody can really stop him is a very scary thought. And it's sadly something that does happen in real life. And I like how the film is able to show just how realistically scary that all is, and what such an oppressive ruler could do to the people that they rule over. And then another thing I really liked about Frollo himself as a character is how complex he is as a character. Not only is Frollo a genocide of races, but he also falls in love with Esmeralda. And this complicates things for him because Esmeralda is a Romani girl, and she's a part of a group of people that he despises a lot. And the fact that he falls in love with Esmeralda all throughout this film really made his character pretty interesting, because he becomes very obsessive towards Esmeralda and even threatens to kill her just because she's a Romani. But at the same time, he loves her too, but he can't figure out a way how to express his love without threatening her in some kind of way. So I do love the fact that Frollo is one of those characters who has a very complex personality. Like, he wants to kill off all the Romani people in Paris, but at the same time, he has fallen in love with a Romani woman, and that makes things very complicated for his character. Now, if there was an issue that I have with this film, it was with the characters Victor, Hugo, and Laverne, the three gargoyles who are Quasimodo's friends. Even though those three characters are probably the funniest characters in the film, I felt like their presence in the film kind of made them stand out like a sore thumb, because they're very comical characters that are in an otherwise dark and serious movie, and because of their comedic antics throughout the film, they stick out like a sore thumb, and it felt like they were just thrown into the movie just to bring some comedy to the film. But I felt like they didn't really fit with the dark nature of this film, and it just made them very odd to watch at times. But overall, I really enjoyed The Hunchback of Notre Dame. Even though the characters of Laverne, Hugo, and Victor felt a little too out of place in this film, I do love the fact that this film is able to tackle dark subject matter like racism and genocide and present it in such a straightforward way. And I also really loved all the characters in this film, as they were very well written. And I love the villain of Judge Claude Frollo, as he's one of the most complex villains that Disney has ever made. So that's why I love The Hunchback of Notre Dame so much. So if you're looking for a Disney film that has a lot of dark subject matter, I highly recommend you check out The Hunchback of Notre Dame. So that's my review on The Hunchback of Notre Dame, and tell me in the comments down below, have you seen The Hunchback of Notre Dame? And if you have, did you like the movie? Did you hate the movie? And what's the darkest Disney film you have ever seen? Please let me know in the comments down below. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This is Rabbit's Blog Animation Bliss, and I'll see you guys later. Hey animation fans, like this video? If you want to see more animated content from this channel, then please hit that big old animated subscribe button so that you can get more awesome content from this channel.